All right, I had to put my phone into airplane mode so I didn't get any distractions. What's up, family? What's up, y'all? It's your boy Matt D. Talford again with another video. And listen, this is the intro. Y'all know I'm gonna give y'all a proper introduction. I always like to do that. All right. But for those of you who know this song, I'm only gonna sing the opening line of it, but I want you to sing along with me. All right, this opening line. All right, I'm gonna play the music. Well, I'm not gonna play it. I'm gonna hum it. All right. We tripping this Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. They call it Hump Day, and some of y'all need some Hump Day motivation and inspiration to get you over the hump. All right. So here we go. Every time I move, I lose. When I look, I'm in. Every time I turn around, back in love again. I get mixed emotions. It's the way my feelings flow. Y'all, that's Jeffrey Osborne when he was a member of the group LTD. And the name of that song is Back in Love Again. Now, why am I singing this song in the intro? I'll answer that for you right now. Because every time I say it's going to be a short video, it's a long one. And there's a subscriber out there. She knows who she is. She is probably watching this video right now. But every time I have said I'm done doing videos with regards to twin flame divine counterparts, it looks like it seems like the spirit laughs at me and says, "You don't know." And she told me that. The queen, this subscriber, she goes by the queen. You know who you are. You said, "Matt, I don't think you're done doing twin flame divine counterpart videos." I'm gonna tell y'all, look, I got a download a couple of mornings ago. My downloads always hit right before my feet hit the floor for whatever reason. Those of y'all that know, you know. And look, I thought I put this thing in airplane mode. Why is it still giving me notifications? Oh, Wi-Fi is on. All right. Y'all wouldn't believe that I used to work in technology here. But when you quit something, you quit it, right? Like, you done with it. Like, don't call me to fix your computer, even though people call me to fix their computer sometimes still. Anyway, the further I get away from 2013, which is when I retired from corporate IT, the less and less I am inspired to work on computers. But anyway, back to the subscriber, y'all, and then I'm gonna get off this intro. She knows who she is. She goes by the queen, and she said, "Matt, you're not done." And download. So those of you who know, you get those downloads. They tend to hit between the hours of probably 3 and 6 a.m. Okay. Some people used to call that the witching hour for whatever reason. I ain't into all of the spooky ghoul and goblin stuff. But anyway, I got a download. And this download is going to be life-changing for those of you who consider yourselves to be divine counterparts. For those of you who see yourselves as being on the twin flame journey. And y'all know how I feel about that term, right? I've said it before. I don't knock anybody who uses it. It's just that term evokes a lot of emotion in people who are not on that journey for whatever reason. Somehow they feel like they're left out or whatever. But what they need to understand is that those who are experiencing the energy were chosen for it. And they were divinely created for a special purpose that is bigger than they are. And this is why every time they move, they lose when they look therein. Every time they turn around, they back in love again, right? Yo, Jeffrey got one of the most golden voices ever. Y'all check that song out. I'll put a link in the description box below. But that being said, I'm going to jump right into this in just a minute. I wanted to say one more caveat, all right? I wanted to issue one more caveat. Again, this is for those who consider themselves to be on the journey, experiencing this whole energy that no one ever told them about, that smacked them out of nowhere, okay? There are a lot of people that are still struggling with it. I get people that come to me because I'm a guy that knows a lot of things about a lot of things, all right? And they say, "Matt, yo, this is what happened today. what do you make of this? Or Matt, this is what I'm feeling like. What do you make of that? This, that, or the other. So anyway, I got this download, y'all. And I have to forewarn you, if you are someone who is a twin flame coach, if you're someone who coaches divine counterparts and you receive money to do that, I don't knock any man's hustle. Keep doing what you're doing. I love it when people are helping people, okay? But I have to warn you, if you are a so-called twin flame / divine counterpart coach, I'm going to ask your forgiveness in advance, because what I am about to share in this video today could severely reduce the amount of income that you make coaching those who consider themselves to be on the twin flame journey. Now, Matt, how is that? How is what you're going to share today? How is that going to potentially negatively impact someone who does so-called twin flame coaching? It's real simple. Let me share a story with y'all, and then I'm gonna cut to a break. Back in 2002, I started taking tennis lessons. I was 29. Back at the age of 29, I started taking tennis lessons. Now, I have wanted to be a tennis player my whole life. I grew up watching John McEnroe, Jimmy Connors, Bjorn Borg, Mats Wilander, Boris Becker, Chris Evert, Tracy Austin, Martina Navratilova. I loved the pugilism aspect of tennis. And my favorite player of all time is John McEnroe. Some people say, man, why your brother, why you own Arthur Ashe? I didn't see Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe wasn't playing by the time I started watching. I've seen some highlight film of Arthur Ashe. He was a bad boy. But I don't even need to explain that, right? Let's not go there. John McEnroe, that's my dude. That's just my favorite player, even to this day. If somebody says John McEnroe's playing a charity benefit tennis tournament, whatever, or tennis match, and it's in my area, I'm trying to go see it. That was my favorite player. The dude's a beast, all right? Anyway, I started taking tennis lessons at 29. I was inspired by the Williams sisters at that point in my life, and I was like, wow, their story. Wow, these sisters are showing up in braids, not afraid to be who they are, and dominating. It put something in me. I wanted to get out there. I was like, this is my opportunity. I can play competitively, blah, 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 blah. I started taking lessons from a coach who I won't name because I didn't talk to him in advance of this video and I don't have his permission to use his name. But this local coach in the Charlotte area, nice guy, super nice guy. He charged. I looked him up, found out, hey, he's somebody that coaches. So I was like, cool. I want to go learn, and let me go talk to this brother, whatever. And he charged $30 a lesson. And my wife, she went along with me because, she wanted to learn to play too. So we kind of learned that together. And it took me 6 lessons to realize that I needed to stop taking lessons and go to work. Because during the course of those 6 lessons, and I was taking 1 a week, and at the end of 6 weeks, that coach said something to me that I kind of didn't like, but I also realized that it was true. He said to me, are you not practicing the stuff that you're learning here during the week? Like, you're coming back and we're kind of going over some of the same things, which tells me you're not practicing. You need to get a hitting partner. You need to go find a wall to hit against. And I said, you know what, man? He's right. I have dropped $180 to learn this game, to learn this sport, to learn how to play so I can go out and play competition tennis. Not at the pro level, of course. I'm not a pro. Y'all don't know me for playing on the grass at Wimbledon or the hard courts at Ashe Stadium. I mean, I'm a local amateur competitive player, and I love it. But I said, you know what, man? I am not going to improve unless I work on what it is that I've learned. And I stopped taking lessons, and I never took another lesson from him. Now, what I did after that is kind of the underpinning of today's video. What I did after that was I found me some people that wanted to go out and hit, and people that I could work on my game with. On top of that, I began watching videos. I bought books. I studied. I made up my own drills and tips that I used at home to just work on stroke mechanics and backhand, forehand, and all of this, and then I would watch the pros. I'd study their footwork. I'm like, okay, he's doing this, he's doing that. And the only time I went to take a lesson after that is when I ran up in competition. And let me just cut to the chase. I started taking those lessons in 2002. 2003, I joined the USTA, United States Tennis Association, and started playing in local adult leagues in the Charlotte area. And also played in some tennis ladders as well. And what I started doing after that was I said, okay, this is where my strokes are breaking down in a game, or this is where I'm losing points. Let me go and get with a coach that can help me tweak and correct these errors I'm making. These errors, there's got to be something in my stroke mechanics that I'm not seeing. There's got to be something in my footwork I'm not seeing, my setup, my preparation, my racket preparation, my follow through. Something is causing me to make errors against this certain type of opponent. If I'm playing against players that hit the ball like I do, whatever, I can get in some rallies and have some fun. When I'm playing players that have these varied games and they mixing in junk or whatever, I'm making these errors. I don't want to make these errors anymore. Let me go and take some lessons. And so I began spot checking and taking lessons to improve upon one specific aspect of my game and not the entire journey. My journey as a player was up to me overall. But if there was one area in specific that I was making mistakes or I felt like I needed some help, I went and got help in that one area. And that was my tennis journey. So I know I took y'all all the way around the block to get you to the house next door. But for those of you who are my subscribers, y'all notice what I do and y'all love it. Y'all love it because you come back and you let me know. Y'all let me know that you love the abstract stories, because in abstract stories, sometimes truths about ourselves are revealed. So, after the break, I am going to, and I know that was a long intro, y'all. I make no apologies for it. I am who I am, okay? After the break, I'm going to get into the one and only force that keeps divine counterparts in separation. And then we're going to talk about how to overcome it, okay? And I'm going to try to speed through it because this was a long intro. But anyway, the one and only force that keeps divine counterparts in separation and how to overcome it. A lot of y'all are going out here, you're going to these twin flame coaches, and let me say this before I get to the main course here. Let me say this. Tell y'all another quick story. There was a saying that guys that I served with in the military used to say that came from the movie Fight Club. I never saw Fight Club. I never saw the movie. But I've heard this phrase from it ad nauseum. And these guys would say, the first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. That same rule applies to those of you who are on this so-called, as they call it, twin flame / divine counterpart journey, this experience. If you are not dealing with someone who has divulged to you that they too are on that journey, don't talk to somebody else about it. Because all they're going to do is discourage you. They're going to become a distraction, a karmic, if you will. They're going to be someone who is there and put there that is probably even unbeknownst to them, a force that potentially is there to block you from what is destined. Whoever that person is that you met, that you just cannot understand the nature of your connection beyond the physical, you are destined to meet that person. I say this in a lot of videos. There are no such things as accidents in the universe. So don't let someone stand in the way of your destiny by sharing something with someone who is not on that journey, because they're not going to understand it. I was told that years ago, before I was diagnosed with the C word, before I even found out I was dealing with anything, any type of tumor or anything. I did research and tried to help my friends who were going through it. And one of them, very bluntly, and I appreciate that because I'm blunt myself, very bluntly told me, you don't know anything about this unless you've had to deal with it. And when I was diagnosed myself, I completely understood what they were saying. It's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to experience it. I don't wish that on anybody, by the way. But this journey, I don't wish that on anybody. Not this journey. I shouldn't say this journey, because some of y'all be looking at me like, is he? And y'all know I don't answer personal questions. All right. I don't answer personal questions. I don't. So, I'm somebody who knows a lot of things about a lot of things. And people who respect the gifts that were given to me come to me for advice. All right, y'all. That was a long introduction, 15-minute introduction. So I'm going to take a break here. And when I come back, we're going to talk about the one thing that keeps divine counterparts in separation and how to overcome it. You're watching Maddie's Rap with author Matt D. Talford. I'll be right back. Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Maddie's Rap with author Matt D. Talford. Now, before I get into the subject matter of today's video, I would like to thank those of you who are my returning subscribers. You guys know I love y'all. Y'all are the fuel that keeps this engine running, okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the love, the support, the shout outs. Thank you to those of you who join in on our Friday Night Lives. And you guys, they're growing. Friday Night Live is growing, and it could not grow without you guys tuning in and sharing your love and your energy. If you are new to the channel, thank you, welcome, and I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Now, my goal, y'all are gonna know why I'm laughing in just a minute. My goal is to make this segment or this portion of the video no longer than the introduction was, all right? Y'all grade me on how I did at the end. Now, today, what are we talking about? The one and only force that keeps divine counterparts, some call them twin flames, but the one and only force that keeps divine counterparts in separation and how to overcome that. The major key points that we'll be going over today are, you know what? Let me jump right into it right now. What is that one and only force that keeps divine counterparts in separation, Matthew? It is the low vibrational energy of shame. Say it with me, shame. Because by the end of this video, we are going to forever put shame to rest. If you want it. If you want to stay in shame, so be it. Now, I said this in the intro and I'll say it again. If you are not someone who considers yourself to be on the twin flame divine counterpart path, if you are not someone who is currently experiencing that energy, this video may not be for you. But if you want to stick around, you will learn something that anybody can take away from it. It's not this, ultimately, this subject matter is not just for those who are on that particular path or journey. It is for anyone who wants to understand how to be ultimately high vibrational. Now, so the major key points we're going to be going over, first and foremost, shame. All right? Shame. And what shame does to keep us in the lower vibrational frequencies, okay? And energies and emotions. Shame, number one. Number two, I'm going to give you a brief image, if you will, audible, but an image of, if you will, a brief image of what divine counterparts are and kind of how they work. And I'm going to do this by explaining something. I'm going to keep it real simple. I'm not going to do a deep dive. If you guys want a deep dive, I got a ton of videos. I got a whole playlist on twin flames, you guys. Twin flames and relationships. I got a whole playlist, you guys. Feel free to have at it. Go through that playlist, okay? So, divine counterparts, kind of how they work, and observation. That's the point number two. Point number three, what causes feelings of shame in the divine feminine archetype? Point number four, What causes feelings of shame in the divine masculine archetype? Point number 5, how shame causes perceived separation. Okay? Point number 6, what separation really is, what it really is. Okay? And then point number 7, we're just going to do a recap of the yin yang energies and the as above, so below principle. Okay? So 7 major points: shame, divine counterparts, what causes feelings of shame in the divine feminine, what causes feelings of shame in the divine masculine, how shame causes perceived separation, what separation really is, and as above, so below. After that, I'll share some final thoughts. I'll share a Bible verse or two, and then I'm going to leave you guys with a recommended video to watch that will kind of help you, those of you especially that consider yourselves to be religious or Christian or so. This video will help you as well, and I'll recommend that video at the end. All right, so let's jump right in. Shame. Shame is a powerful baby maker. Shame is a powerful baby maker. What do you mean by that, Matt? Well, let's look at that vibrational frequency chart. When we look at the vibrational frequency chart that we have on this screen here, shame sits at the bottom. It sits at the root chakra. It sits at the root. The root is the foundation that supports everything that is on top of it. So when you look at this chart, for example, the root or the base or the foundation of the high vibrational frequencies is courage. All right? The base or foundation of the low vibrational frequencies is shame. What do you mean when you say shame is a powerful baby maker? Shame produces feelings of guilt. Shame can produce feelings of apathy. I just don't care about nothing, man. Just whatever. Why am I here? Shame can produce feelings of grief. Shame can also make you afraid, and so on and so forth, okay? Though that is what I mean when I say shame is a very powerful baby maker. If you lay down with shame, we'll call that spirit confirmation. That seems to be the popular thing to do in the spiritual community now. When you receive a notification after something profound that you say, we'll call that spirit confirmation, all right? If you lay down with shame, or if you lie down with shame, if for all of my English teachers out there watching, if you lie down with shame, you are going to give birth to guilt. You may make another baby called apathy. Shame is going to impregnate you and cause you to give birth to grief, okay? Shame is going to impregnate you if you lie down with it, and possibly even cause you to produce an even bigger baby called fear, okay? So, shame is a very powerful baby maker. When you lay down with shame, it produces those offspring. Don't lay down with it. Remember that. Shame is a powerful baby maker. Somebody write that down. Somebody write it in the chat if you want to, okay? We need to remember that. That needs to be remembered. So somebody put that in the chat. Next, divine counterparts. Divine counterparts, I'm reading from my notes, by the way. Divine counterparts are energetically one soul, and as such, they experience the same emotions in an equal but opposite fashion. Let me explain what that looks like by giving you the mirror example. You watching this video, if you are standing in front of a mirror and you raise your right hand is the left hand in that mirror image, but you're still raising one hand. If you raise your left hand in the mirror, you're raising your right hand. So, anybody that would come along and just observe would see two different images, but you only see the one. You only see what is in the mirror. You only see what is in the mirror. If you are looking in the mirror and smiling, you see a smile coming right back at you. Somebody walking along, they'll see two different images there. Now technically speaking, they know that that's someone standing in the mirror. But a camera or the eye is going to see two of one. They're going to see two of the same. It's the mirror principle. It is the mirror principle. If you are looking in the mirror or you're standing in front of the mirror and laughing, you only see laughter. If you are looking in the mirror or standing in front of the mirror and are crying, you see crying coming right back at you. So, the same holds true for these so-called mirror souls. And they're unique. They're unique. And it is not just the telepathic bond that makes them unique, because people have telepathic bonds. They do. I can tell y'all a story about how the worst headache I ever had in my life. I was in my 20s, and it was so severe that when I got off work, I went to lie down, and I was like, man, I don't know if I could go to class today, but let me just lie down for a minute and see if I can sleep this headache off. I was a night student at that time, working by day, going to school at night. And when I woke up, the headache was gone, but I had missed the first class. I had two classes. One that was from, I want to say it was like from 5:45 to 7:30, and then the other one was from like 7:45 to 9 o'clock or something like that. But anyway, I just decided I wasn't going to go to class that night. And when I got up, the headache was gone. But I was like, wow, what was that? Because everybody who knows me knows I don't get headaches. And I picked up the phone and called my mother. And my mother told me that she had one of the worst headaches that she had ever had. I said, well, Mom, do you still have it? She said, no, it's gone. So that's kind of a telepathic communication. I could give y'all another example. One day I was eating lunch with my spouse, and she's headed downstairs, and she said, I think I want to get a, for those of y'all who know, now I'm not recommending you drink soda, but I'm just saying, for those who know, you're like, I need to get a soda to cut this grease. And she said, I'm going downstairs to get a soda. You want anything? I was like, nah, I don't want any soda. She's like, all right, well, I'm going to get a Sprite. And I said, all right, that's cool, whatever. So she leaves, I hear the door close, and I'm thinking, and I forgot what we were eating. Maybe it was pizza or something like that. But I was like, you know what, man, a Dr. Pepper would be real good. I was just thinking to myself. And lo and behold, she comes back upstairs with a Dr. Pepper. I said, where's the Sprite? She said, I don't know. She said, I just felt like I wanted to get a Dr. Pepper. She said, I just felt like I needed a Dr. Pepper instead. When I got to the soda machine, I was like, nah, I don't want a Sprite. I want a Dr. Pepper. Telepathic communication. I said, all right, cool. Well, you know what? I actually wanted some Dr. Pepper, so we'll split it. That's telepathic communication. So just another example, anybody can have telepathic communication, but the telepathic communication between divine counterparts is different. The telepathic communication between divine counterparts is such that when one of them, they tend to experience the extremities. When one is experiencing a highly vibrational, high, happy, joyous day, the other one feels it. When one of them is low vibrational, they're in some feelings of sadness, heavy sadness, sorrow, the other one picks it up out of the blue. They'll be sad and don't even know why they are. But their sadness, they are mirroring that other aspect of themselves. Okay? And again, if you're not on that journey, you're not going to understand these things. This video is not for you. Just sit back and enjoy and see what you can learn from it. Okay? So, again, that is pretty much the mirror effect, the mirror principle, the mirror illusion. The illusion of the mirror is that if you got a camera, if there's someone standing right there in front of a bathroom, in a bathroom with the door open, and they're standing in front of a mirror, and I walk by with the camera and just walk by past that opening, that camera is going to pick up two individual appearances or apparitions, some may call it. One is the physical embodiment of that person. The other one, watch this, is not spirit, is not physical, because that mirror, that image in the mirror cannot be touched. You can touch the mirror, but you cannot touch the sight of that individual standing in front of the mirror. But they're there. That's a mystery, y'all. But that is how this divine counterpart thing works. That's one soul there. But it appears in two places, okay? And when one moves the right hand, the other's moving their left. If I'm in that mirror and I scratch my right shoulder, the other one has their right hand scratching their left shoulder. So that's how divine counterparts work. Next, and I'm going somewhere with this. Remember, shame is the one and only force that keeps divine counterparts in separation. And we're going to talk about how to overcome that. Point number 3, what causes feelings of shame in the divine feminine? Great question. The thing that causes shame, you know what? I'm going to skip ahead for just a moment here because this is a point that I make in another point here in my notes. But I'm going to say this right now. All shame is shame of self. It is shame of self, okay? Shame always originates with self. Now, people hear people say all the time, I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of you for what you did. That is projection because shame goes with the individual. Look at that emotional frequency map. Those are emotions that you, the individual, experience. Okay? So, a person outside of you can attempt to project shame onto you. And if they do, then you then own it. That shame is then yours. If you're feeling shame that someone attempted to project onto you and then you own it, then that shame is yours. But that's a whole different thing. Shame comes from the self. It is your own low vibrational nature. A low vibrational energy that comes from your own lower self, your lower vibrational nature. Now, everyone has a high vibrational nature and a low vibrational nature. Where you choose to sit, which energy you choose to sit in is up to you. Now, what causes those feelings of shame in the divine feminine, Matt? Let me explain one more thing. Divine counterparts are never ashamed of the other person. They're never ashamed of the other person. No divine feminine is ultimately ashamed of their divine masculine, and no divine masculine is ultimately ashamed of their divine feminine. How that shame works is that divine feminine is ashamed of herself for allowing herself to have feelings for an individual who seems to disregard her. She is ashamed of herself. She says, I'm better than this. I am better than continuing to deal with someone who is disrespectful, someone who disregards how I feel, someone who doesn't return phone calls or texts, someone who ghosts me, someone who breadcrumbs me. I am better than this. I am ashamed of how I have allowed myself to feel so deeply for someone who gives the appearance of not feeling the same way about me. That is how the divine feminine experiences shame. That is what causes feelings of shame in the divine feminine. On the other hand, the divine masculine, again, self-shame. This is point number 4. The divine masculine, self-shame. What causes feelings of shame in the divine masculine? Remember, these divine counterparts are never ashamed of the other. The divine feminine is not ashamed of the divine masculine for how she's feeling. She's ashamed of herself. Likewise, the divine masculine is not ashamed of the divine feminine. He's ashamed of himself. I'm going to take you back to that mirror in just a minute. That divine masculine, what causes feelings of shame in the divine masculine? That divine masculine is ashamed of how he is treating the divine feminine. Because the truth is, they share the same energetic cord. So the feelings that the divine feminine feels toward the divine masculine also feels toward the divine feminine. But they're experienced differently. And so therefore, the shame is different. The divine feminine wants to feel the way she feels toward the divine masculine in the early stages. The divine masculine does not want to feel the way he feels toward the divine feminine. So what he does to counter that is he ghosts. He doesn't return phone calls. He doesn't return texts. He promises to show up and then doesn't keep that promise. He breaks promises. He says things that he doesn't mean. He does things that when he goes back and thinks about what he did, he's ashamed of it. Why? Because when the divine masculine does these things to the divine feminine and causes her pain, the divine masculine experiences that pain as well, without the divine feminine ever even having to tell him. So, now, what we see in that mirror is one action: ghosting, breadcrumbing, broken promises, general meanness. These are all actions that typically begin with the divine masculine in an attempt to escape a feeling or an energy that he does not understand. And y'all keep in mind, when I say he and she, their energies. The male could be the carrier of the divine feminine energy. The female could be the carrier of the divine masculine energy. These are energies. They're not gender. Typically speaking, men are divine masculines and women are divine feminines, but that is not always the case. Sometimes it's the other way around. And again, it doesn't mean the guy is feminine. It doesn't mean the woman is masculine. These are just the energies they embody. One is more spiritual. The other is more earth-based, more into, they call them the matrix twin. They care about day-to-day stuff. Okay, so the counterpart that cares more about day-to-day stuff like paying bills, I don't know, putting food on the table, going to work, going on this business trip, whatever it might be. The one that cares more about life-based stuff, that is typically the divine masculine archetype. Doesn't matter the gender. The one that cares more about spirituality, that is typically the divine feminine archetype. Okay, wanted to put that to bed. Now, again, to wrap that up, to summarize points 3 and 4, it's the same action. It is the same action. It is the ghosting, the breadcrumbing, the hurtful words, the broken promises. Those are the actions that are initiated by the divine masculine, which causes the divine feminine to be ashamed of herself for having any type of emotional attachment to someone that treats her that way. And then the divine masculine is ashamed of himself for what he did to the divine feminine that did not deserve that low vibrational energy. One action. In the mirror, I move my right hand. One image, the image in the mirror is moving its left. The image, the person standing there in front of the mirror is moving their right. It's the same action, but it produces a different perspective. That is how these work. So I've just gone over how powerful shame is and what it does. I've gone over what divine counterparts are if you use the mirror, for example. I've gone over what causes feelings of shame in the divine feminine, and I've just gone over what causes feelings of shame in the divine masculine. Now, let's talk about how shame causes perceived separation. Shame breeds feelings of unworthiness. Shame in the divine masculine causes him to feel unworthy of his divine feminine counterpart. We're talking about how shame causes perceived separation, okay? Shame in the divine masculine causes him to feel unworthy of his divine feminine counterpart. Shame in the divine feminine causes her to feel that her divine masculine is unworthy of her. Remember, I said it's always the same action. It's just it has a different perspective. What shame causes here is feelings of unworthiness. For the divine masculine, they feel like they're not worthy of the divine feminine. For the divine feminine, she feels like the divine masculine is not worthy of her. It's the same energy which causes that physical separation. All right, let's move on. Point number 6. Separation is really an illusion. What do you mean, Matt? The very fact that you met the other person in this lifetime is due to the energetic connection that exists in the higher realms. Let me say that again. The very fact that you met the other person in this lifetime is due to the energetic connection that already exists in the higher realms. Y'all hear me ad nauseum recommend the video Soul Contracts, The Life We Chose Before Birth. I recommend that ad nauseum. You came here on assignment, and your higher self knows the whole playbook. If this is a divine film, a divine play, a divine movie, your higher self knows the entire script. Okay? Your higher self is the screenwriter. It is the screenwriter. It wrote the script. Your lower self, your physical nature, is the actor. you have to go through the emotions. The sooner you wake up and realize that you are the physical embodiment of a much larger and higher energy, the more quickly you will progress toward the accomplishment of whatever mission it was that you came here to accomplish. All right? So, last time, the very fact that you met the other person in this lifetime is due to the energetic connection that exists already in the higher realms. And this is the very energetic rift that causes these grief, or that causes the grief that is experienced in the physical, aka the 3D. The energetic rift that causes the grief that is experienced in the physical. What do I mean? I just said it. If you understood, if you understood, if you outerstood, if you overstood that you're already connected in the higher realms and that you came here on an assignment, then you would realize and recognize that your physical embodiment separation is just an illusion because you're already connected. This is why you feel what the other person, if you will, shared soul, other aspect of yourself is feeling. And this is why nobody can ultimately cause division between you, because you're already connected. So the separation in and of itself is an illusion. This is why you hear so many so-called twin flame coaches say, work on yourself. You came here to be in union with yourself. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. I just gave it to you in point number 2, okay? In that mirror is yourself. Guess what? If you are dirty, have you ever seen anybody, what can I use for an example? You're brushing your teeth, since we're talking about the mirror. You're in the bathroom, you brushing your teeth or whatever, and you get some toothpaste on the corner of your mouth. Have you ever seen anybody successfully remove the toothpaste that is on the mouth by wiping the mirror where the toothpaste is? Wiping the image of the toothpaste on, if it's on the left corner of my mouth, it's on the right corner of the image I'm looking at. Have you ever seen anybody remove toothpaste by wiping the right side of the mouth on the mirror? No. You can wipe that mirror all day, but that image is not going to change until you wipe that toothpaste off your own face. When you clean the toothpaste off your own face, when you gargle and spit the toothpaste out of your own mouth and flash that bright smile, then and only then will the image you're looking at change. I'm giving y'all some practical nuggets on how to end and overcome this perceived separation that you have from whoever you think is your divine counterpart. Whoever you think is your divine counterpart. And I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but I feel led to do this. So let me say this, because not everybody is on a so-called twin flame journey. Not everybody is on this so-called divine counterpart journey, if you will. So what does cleaning yourself up do? Guess what? Cleaning yourself up makes you whole within yourself, such that you're not worried about whether or not somebody else is in your life. You are completely happy with the way you look. When you bathe and shower after cutting the grass or playing basketball or playing tennis or going to the gym and then the sauna, when you wash your own armpits, I was going to say something else, but my mom might be watching, and you say, and you smell good, guess what? You don't care about anybody else. You're like, I'm clean. If a person is supposed to be in your life, they will be there when they're supposed to be there. If a person is not supposed to be in your life, you can't hold them. You cannot hold them. You cannot hold another individual that is not supposed to be in your life. If they are supposed to be in your life, you cannot avoid them. You cannot shake them. All you're going to do is cause yourself stress, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay? So, that was the explanation of separation being an illusion. It really is. Think about the toothbrushing in the mirror that I just gave you, that example I just gave you. Wipe your own mouth. Don't worry about that image in that mirror. That image in that mirror is another aspect of you, another divine aspect of you, another spiritual and energetic aspect of you. That mirror is a spiritual object. A lot of people don't even realize that. Okay? Some do, some don't. Why is it spiritual? Because what you are looking at is an image that moves. You're looking at an image that is just as alive as you are. But you can't touch it, but it's there. Right? So when you clean yourself up, now this whole divine counterpart thing, that don't get it, don't overplay it, don't overthink it, don't overconfuse it. Okay? The mirror is just an example. You can actually physically touch a divine counterpart, but you can't physically fix a divine counterpart. You have to fix yourself. The more you work on yourself, the more that person upgrades, if they are your divine counterpart. If they are not your divine counterpart, then the actual separation occurs, because guess what? You actually weren't separate. You actually were not joined to this person in the higher realms. I got a powerful little statement at the end for you guys that summarizes that. Let's move on. The seventh and final point before I get to the wrap up. As above, so below. Okay? These yin-yang energies are always unified in the higher realms. We just talked about that. As such, they are constantly magnetized toward one another in the physical. That magnetism never dies, and the more they attempt to pull in opposite directions, the stronger the tension and the magnetic force. The stronger the tension and the magnetic force. You take two powerful magnets that are like this. As long as you don't bother them, you're not expending any energy. But try to pull those magnets apart and see how much force you have to exert. All right? Bungee cord. That bungee cord is in a state of homeostasis when it's being unbothered. But no sooner as you attach that bungee cord to a post, and then you put somebody on the other end of it, and they go past the length, or they attempt to go past the length of the resting length of that bungee cord gets tighter, and then pulls them right back in the direction that they started from. It's the same. The energetic cord between divine counterparts / twin flames is like a bungee cord, but even more powerful because it's energetic. A bungee cord is physical. Spiritual energies are always more powerful than physical. Physical is just the embodiment, the manifestation of what exists in the spirit. Physical can die and then be reborn. That which is spiritual never dies. Okay? So the more divine counterparts try to pull apart from each other, the more tense it becomes. The more lower vibrational energies of grief and such that they feel. Because they are out of alignment with their divine creation and their divine purpose. When they come into alignment, the stress ends. Okay? Think that bungee cord. Now, all right, the overall energy of this, really, aka the bottom of the deck, when you know, you know. What's on the bottom of the deck? Separation from God. That's really what this is. It's really separation from God. Let me give you a scripture passage that shows you what I mean by that. Because this perceived separation that you have from your so-called divine counterpart is really the perception of being separated from God. And that is the ultimate shame, right? Some people talk about having the ultimate flex. The ultimate flex is this. The ultimate shame is not so much the shame that is caused by the feelings of separation, or the shame that causes the feelings of separation from an individual. It is really something that's deeper, and it is the perceived separation from God. Let me go here. Let's go to Luke. Those of you that watch my videos, y'all know that this is a staple of mine. This is one of my favorite passages of scripture, okay, when I'm dealing with the religious establishment that wants to keep people in bondage. That's a story for another day. Luke chapter 17, verse 21. Neither say, actually, I always do that and I always end up going back to verse 20. Luke 20. Luke 17 and 20. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he, being the Messiah, answered them and said, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Meaning you can't look outside of you and see it. He said, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Verse 21, neither shall they say, look here or look there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. That is very powerful and very relevant to what we're talking about here. The kingdom of God is within you. Pay attention to that. It's very powerful. It's very poignant to what we're talking about. Separation from God. If the kingdom of God is within you, where did I just say shame comes from? Is shame internal or is it external? See where this is going? I don't want to have to put it together for y'all. The kingdom of God is within you. God is within you. Let's look at Psalms 82 and 6. Let's look at Psalms 82 and 6. Told y'all watch me. You 95% 95% chance you're going to get some scripture if y'all watching me. Okay? Psalms 82 and 6. I have said, ye are gods, or you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. I have said you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. So why did I read Luke 17 and 20 through 21? Why did I read Psalms 82 and 6? The kingdom of God is within you. So when you're talking about the overall energy of this perceived separation, this is where the people who are doing twin flame coaching tell you to get back in touch with yourself. They're really telling you to connect back with the God within. I told you in the beginning, these connections are created by source, by the divine. Each of us, I'm going to save that. All right? I'm going to save that. Separation from God. What shameful thing have you done? Or what actions have you done that have caused this perceived shame that has made you feel like, man, there's no way God loves me. God can't possibly love me for what I've done. It's the same thing with the divine masculines. Masculine energy is physical. Feminine energy is spiritual. How did I say that these things are experienced between the difference between the divine, how the shame is experienced by the divine feminine? She's ashamed of herself for loving somebody that has done these things. All right? The divine masculine is ashamed of himself for having done these things to the divine feminine. It's the same relationship we have with the Most High. It's the same relationship we have with the Creator. Man, God doesn't love me. Not after what I did. No, he can't possibly love me. So then you lie down with shame and you give birth to those other low vibrational babies that we talked about in the beginning. Let me keep it moving. The heart chakra energy between divine counterparts is experienced without condition. Unconditional family. The heart chakra energy between the divine counterparts is experienced without condition. But because of shame, it has the appearance of being conditional. Where else does that show up? I just talked about that. It shows up in how we experience God's love, aka perfect divine love. Wait till y'all get to the video that's linked in the description box. We think because of our actions, there is no way God could ever love us. So it creates the illusion of our being separated from God, or that somehow God is ashamed of us, and that somehow we are not worthy of his divine love. We, physical. God, spiritual. Divine masculine, physical. Divine feminine, spiritual. Let me, you know what? I'm being led to go to this passage of scripture. Let me go here right now, y'all. Let me go here right now. I believe it comes from Jeremiah, the 31st chapter. Let me go there. Because I'm gonna give y'all, look at God as divine feminine and look at us as divine masculine. I'm gonna go here right now, y'all. This is some powerful stuff and it's coming through me. Okay. Jeremiah 31 and 35. It says, thus saith the Lord, but I want y'all to plug in divine feminine because it's the same. God, source, in spirit form is divine feminine energy. In physical form is divine masculine energy. Why? The physical realm, the earth realm, the physical realm, that was another spirit confirmation. The physical realm is masculine energy dominant. The spiritual realm, aka the ether, aka the mind, all of that, that is feminine energy dominant. Watch this. Jeremiah 31:35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. We know that's not his name in real life, but I'm not going to talk about that here. It would be, this was a mass edit. Anytime you see the Lord or the Lord of hosts, it was a mass edit. They took out the name YHWH, Yahuwah, Yahweh, however you want to pronounce it. Verse 36, if those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel shall also cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus saith the Lord, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Lord. You know, y'all read that again on your own time. Do you know what that is saying? That is basically the divine feminine energy of the cosmos, the Most High God, the Creator, in his or her heart chakra energy, saying, there's nothing that my chosen, my beloved in physical form can ever do to make me completely cast them away. He basically said when hell freezes over. All right, let me read that again. I'm going to read it faster. Verse 35, thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, meaning I created all of this, is what the divine feminine energy of the cosmos is saying. And the creation energy is feminine for those of y'all that want to be patriarchal and over masculine, okay? Be balanced. Be balanced. Creation energy is feminine. Again, thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. So he's basically saying, look, regardless of what they've done, he said, if the sun, the moon, and the stars depart from before me, then I'll cast them away. But he knows that those ordinances which he created are not gonna depart from before him. Okay, verse 37. Thus saith the Lord, if heaven above can be measured by man, because we know God knows the measurements, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath by man, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Lord. See that? This is why I was led to read that, y'all. This is why I was led to read that. Because that is pretty much the power that can serve to remove shame, all right? Now, it doesn't mean that you abuse it. It does not mean that you abuse that. But what I'm saying is that is also the way that the divine feminine feels toward the divine masculine. So divine masculine, the love that the divine feminine feels for you is unconditional. It's without condition. When you understand that, that can take you or remove you from the low vibrational energy of grief, which sits at the foundation of all low vibrational energy. Grief, not grief, shame. Shame produces grief. That can remove you from the energy of shame. All right? I'm going to read that note again. The heart chakra energy between divine counterparts is experienced without condition. But because of shame, it has the appearance of being conditional. Where else does that show up? It shows up in how we experience God's love, aka perfect divine love. We think because of our actions, there is no way God could love us. So it creates the illusion of our being separated from God, or that somehow God is ashamed of us and that somehow we are not worthy of his divine love. I just said that shame comes from within. So the divine source, the ether, is not ashamed of you for what you did. It is you being ashamed of yourself. Now we're getting ready to get into the meat where we talk about how to overcome it. All right? Well, if Luke 17:21 is true, which I believe it to be, which I know it is, then we are right back at the beginning of this video. Shame comes from within and is self-imposed. So how do we overcome the low vibrational energy of shame, which produces feelings of unworthiness? How do we overcome? We overcome by simply coming over. Let's look at that emotional frequency map and see which emotions sit high above shame. Okay, sitting high above shame: courage, neutrality, which means being balanced. Neutrality is balance. If you're in neutral, you're in balance. The car's not in forward, it's not in reverse, okay? If you're in neutrality, you're balanced. Willingness, acceptance. Y'all hear me say this in a lot of my videos. Acceptance is a high vibration. Acceptance of what, Matt? Accepting that things are the way they are. Accepting that things that we had no power to create or change just are. If you didn't create it, then it just is. That's acceptance. Acceptance, if you call yourself a divine counterpart, acceptance that of the idea that, you know what, maybe this person was just a lesson for me, and maybe I truly am okay by myself. Maybe I wasn't created to be in a physical relationship with this person. That's the acceptance that can put you in a high vibration. Accept that could be the case. I'm not saying that it is. I'm not saying that it is. I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm saying being willing to accept either of those can bring you out of shame. Reason, and then the one I like: love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. You overcome shame with love. You overcome shame with reason. Reason, what does reason mean? You know what? There's a reason that this person did what they did. Let me try to put myself in their shoes for just a minute. There's a reason my divine masculine did what they did. Let me try to put myself in their shoes for just a minute. If you're the divine masculine, there's a reason why this person feels the way they do about me. Maybe I am worth it. Maybe I am worth it. Maybe I'm not as bad as I've been telling myself all this time that I am. Maybe that divine feminine sees something in me that I don't see in myself. That's reason. That is reason. Love. You know what? I don't like what this person did, but I love them anyway. If it were raining, I'd toss them an umbrella. If they came thirsty, I'd give them a bottle of water. If they were tired and needed a place to lay their head, I'd say, hey, you know what? There's some clean sheets on the bed over there. Just go in there, close the door. Nobody's gonna bother you. Whatever. Boom. You know, that's love. I don't like what you did, but you're a human being that has a need. I love you. Let me show you love. Y'all hear me say this at the end of my videos all the time. Love is a verb, okay? When you focus on the verb, the state of being, noun form of love, always takes care of itself. Peace. Peace is how you overcome shame. You know what? I'm just going to be at peace with where I am in my life right now and focus on me. I can't worry about what that person's doing. They got to work through their own issues. This person has been on earth for however many years old they were or however many years young they were when I met them. Okay? I met this person at 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, however old they were when I met them. They've got things that they've been dealing with for that number of years. So let me just be at peace with they are who they are, and they got their own stuff they got to deal with, just like I do. This is how you come out of these feelings of shame. If you're divine feminine, stop feeling ashamed of how you feel about that person. Okay? You feel that way about that person because you are a bearer of high vibrational love energy. And so you love that person. So it's okay. Don't be ashamed of yourself. Have boundaries. Have things that you are not going to. Now, acceptance is a high vibration, but also not accepting things is a high vibration too. That's acceptance, period. Whether it's on the plus side or the minus side. I will accept this. I will not accept this. That's still high vibrational. It is very high vibrational to have boundaries. I always say boundaries, not walls. When you have a wall up, not only can something not get into you, you can also not get anything out. With a boundary, Once that boundary is crossed, you have sentinels that say, hey, what's your business here? State your business. What are you doing? That's the difference between a boundary. Boundary can allow energy to pass in and out, but it's checked. It's checked. That's the difference between boundaries and walls. All right? And then what happens once walls are torn down? If they're not brought down by you and they're your walls. Just saying, okay? So I just wanted you guys to take a few minutes and look at these different things that are over shame. You want to overcome shame? Overcome shame by beginning at the base of high vibrational energy, which is courage. Okay? Now, overcome shame first and foremost by forgiving yourself, because you are where shame started. You are the source point for shame. Okay? So overcome shame first and foremost by forgiving yourself. Next, remember that no one outside of you can ever really shame you. All they can do is project. If you are the divine masculine, forgive yourself first, then be man enough or woman enough to offer a sincere apology to the divine feminine that you harmed emotionally, and accept the false possibility that they might not want to forgive you. Why did I say it's a false possibility? Because a true divine feminine will always accept your sincere apology and forgive. Now, I sort of stressed or emphasized sincere because divine feminine energy is all-knowing. So that divine feminine energy is going to know whether or not you are being sincere when you apologize. They're going to know, okay? Especially if they've got a water placement. All of the water signs are super intuitive, okay? Now, in doing so, forgiving yourself. In doing so, you will have instantly activated healing within yourself, which ultimately heals your connection with your divine counterpart, who, simply put, is the physical embodiment of God's unconditional love for you. That divine counterpart is simply the physical embodiment of God's divine love for you. All right? Now, if you are the divine feminine, forgive your divine masculine for whatever they did to hurt you emotionally. Okay? And I'm not talking about physical. If a person is putting their hands on you, slapping you, shoving you, punching you, kicking you, biting you, whatever. If someone, and I don't care who it is, if someone is putting their hands on you and causing you physical harm, that's not a divine counterpart. Why? Because a sane person standing in the mirror is not going to harm themselves. All right? We just talked about what divine counterparts are using the mirror. So in as much as your mirror image is not going to jump out of there and cut you. Now, if you cut yourself, that's something different. And I'm not talking about cutting or some of these, mental disorders that some people have experienced in life. I'm not talking about that or making light of it. What I'm telling you straight up is that image in that mirror is never going to come out of the mirror and cause physical harm to you. So if someone causes you physical harm, they are not your mirror soul. Understand that, understand that, understand that, overstand that. Okay. Now, where was I? Okay. So divine feminine, forgive your divine masculine for whatever they did to hurt you emotionally, and tell yourself, he or she actually does deserve me, and I deserve them too. In doing so, you are saying, I am worthy of God's divine love. Because remember Luke 17:21, God is within you. And also did the reference to Psalms 82:6. In the end, what we need to understand is that the divine counterpart who showed up in our life and triggered us into experiencing the dark night of the soul is a reflection of our own inner divinity that we, through shame, appeared to have separated ourselves from, and that in many cases, this shame has spanned several lifetimes, and that now is the time to put that shame away for once and for all. As I said in the beginning, shame is a very powerful and fertile breeder. So if you don't want it to produce offspring with you, don't get into bed with it. Shame is a powerfully fertile breeder, powerfully fertile. Stop lying down with shame. If you want to know the truth, God is love. and that is our higher nature. Shame is the so-called devil, aka our lower nature. Understand this, that each of us, regardless of whether or not you are on the so-called twin flame path, which is a divine creation of the Most High source energy chosen for its own purpose, ultimately, each of us is a fragment of the same universal energy. I'm going to say that again. Each of us is a fragment of the same universal energy on a never-ending quest to experience physical existence in the same pure love energy which exists in the non-physical realm. I'm going to say that again for somebody in the back. Speaking of the physical, the embodiment of each and every person that you see, each of us is a fragment of the same universal source energy on a never-ending quest to experience physical existence in the same pure love energy which exists in the non-physical realm. All right? Get that. Write that down. Understand that. You have often heard me say in a number of my other proving that the Bible is spiritual and not religious videos that our whole purpose for existing in the physical is to experience life in the physical as the God source energy that we are in the ether. That's like the game. It's like this never-ending video game. Who can beat the game by becoming their highest self in physical form? That's the game, y'all. That's the game. That's the never-ending quest. But I digress. Let me get on with this so we can finish up. I want each and every person watching this video to understand and understand that shame is the low vibrational energy that causes what we perceive to be physical separation. When we overcome shame through forgiving ourselves and moving on with our lives, we ascend and become so high vibrational that it is extremely difficult to ever allow ourselves to fall back into a state of shame. We also see clearly to then know if certain people are life partners or if they were life lessons. And we can either embrace them with love or release them with love. Let me read that one more time. All right. When we overcome shame through forgiving ourselves and moving on with our lives, we ascend and become so high vibrational that it is extremely difficult to ever allow ourselves to fall back into a state of shame. We also see clearly to then know if certain people are life partners or if they were life lessons. And in either case, we can either embrace them with love or release them with love. I will leave you with a link to a very powerful near-death experience testimony of this same principle shared by a very beautiful soul. That link will be at the top of the description box so y'all don't have to dig down looking for it, okay? And in that video, this person was a self-professed Christian that did not believe in past life energy. They believed you die, you live once and you die and go to heaven or hell. This was this person's beliefs until they stepped over to the other side. So it's a 1-hour video. Watch it when you have time. But her testimony is so powerful, and it really freed her from a lot of the low vibrational energy that is experienced in religion, the low vibrational energy of fear and shame, really. Because what did we talk about? This whole, the underneath the deck part, okay? The overall energy of this entire subject matter is really about shame and feeling that God doesn't love us somehow because of what we've done. And I've covered that, and I've showed you that God does, regardless. And her testimony is going to be the icing on the cake. So I want y'all to watch that. All right? Finally, we've reached the end, y'all. Let us remember to never allow others to project onto us their own thoughts or opinions of who we are. Let me read that again. Let us remember to never allow others to project onto us their own thoughts or opinions of who we are to be or what we came here to do that are not in alignment with our own inner knowledge. And last but not least, remember, shame is the only energy that holds so-called divine counterparts in the illusion of separation. Oh, distance may separate you physically, but you are forever joined energetically. And because you are a divine creation, you are also divinely protected by the most powerful angels. Read Psalms 91 and 11. That's all I have, family. Namaste. If you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, you like my energy, because the content changes from time to time. If you're new to this channel and you like my energy, I would ask you to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you can continue to be inspired, okay? So that you can continue to be entertained, so you can continue to be uplifted and informed, okay? Educated in some cases. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, all right? And share it with somebody that you think needs to hear this message. Again, I know this video may not be for everyone because not everyone is on that so-called twin flame divine counterpart journey, which for so many people that report having been on it or are being on or are on it, it's tumultuous. It's up and down. It's a roller coaster ride. So many people say that. But hopefully this subject matter that I shared with you today will finally get you to the point where you can smoothly sail and discover what is the purpose for which I incarnated and met this apparent mirror soul, mirror image of myself, okay? What is the purpose? What is our joint purpose? What did we come here to do? Let's get out of this shame. Let's figure out what it is that we came here to do and knock it out of the park, all right? I was a baseball player too, and that was bad. I just didn't want to knock my microphone over, okay? All right, that's all I got for y'all, family. Tell somebody you love them. Oh, I'm an award-winning author, so for those of you who always ask, Matt, how can we donate to the channel? Sure, I have a Buy Me a Coffee link, and I appreciate those of you who have bought me cups of coffee. I appreciate that. I like to give back to you, okay? So if you want to donate to the channel in one of the highest expressions, you give to me and I give to you. What do I mean, Matt? Purchase one of my books. They're available in print. They're available in ebook. And one of them, From Fear to Faith, A Survivor Story, is available also in audiobook, okay? If you prefer audiobook, I want you to go there. But if you're teetering on which one do I get, I'm going to tell y'all, the same Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences that rob entertainers, they regulate the audiobook industry as well. And I get pennies on the dollar for my audiobooks. But if you prefer audiobook, I want you to have it. So it's there for you if that is your preferred media, okay, for reading books. If listening to them is your preference, then by all means, From Fear to Faith, A Survivor Story is available on audiobook. So yeah. You buy a book, you get a story that will entertain you, uplift you, motivate you, inspire you. That is what I do. Everything I do is about one of those 4 pillars, okay? I love y'all so much, family. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it. Love is a verb. It is a noun as well, but when we focus on the verb, the noun always takes care of itself. Peace, family.